This segment of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by AMG Network Hosting, LLC, a national independent agent for most major telecommunication service providers. If your business is in need of internet, phones, credit card processing, let AMG Hosting help you compare options. They work with over 100 national carriers, and they can help you choose the best option for your needs. Our independence means we are loyal to our customers, not a brand or a company. Call us today at 304-608-3653 or visit us at amgnhconsulting.com. amgnhconsulting.com. Phone number again is 304-608-3653. AMG Network Hosting, LLC. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. We're going to talk here in a minute with a very special guest that we got to meet at the Greenbrier when we had our, it was the Hunting, Fishing, and Conservation Expo Media Days. So we met him while we were there at the Greenbrier Resort and Kate's Mountain Adventures there at the lodge. So we're going to introduce him here in just a second, but I've got Dan Hall here with us. He's coming from Iowa, and I've got Dave Young, which is on production. How you guys doing this evening?
Doing great, Michael. Dave?
Doing great.
Guys tonight.
Yeah, so I'm talking about Ward Burton, 2002 Daytona 500 winner in the NASCAR series. He just made a big announcement up there at the Kate's Mountain Lodge where they partnered his foundation, the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation. They partnered with Project Healing Waters. So without further ado, Ward Burton, how you doing this evening, sir?
Doing well, y'all. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming on. It's a pleasure to talk to you for sure. I mean, it was great spending time with you up there while we was at the Greenbrier, and you know, we had an awesome time while we was up there. So tell us a little bit about that partnership between you and Project Healing Waters.
Well, I was happy and lucky enough to be a guest at Greenbrier back in November with my wife.
Okay.
And Jeb had struck up a relationship with him, my older son, Jeb. And anyway, so we were meeting some of the staff, and the last day as we were checking out, there was Bubba Holt and John Fall with Project Healing Waters, and struck up a conversation. I've always done a lot of work with veterans anyway.
Okay.
And just was really impressed with what they got going on. Next thing I know, a couple of weeks later, I met with the CEO and John at Richmond, and heck, we've already had one event at one of our conservation models 2 weeks ago, and got more events planned and a couple of fundraisers, joint fundraisers at the same time. So good relationship for all the right reasons.
Oh, wow. So you all have already got an event that's already happened.
Yeah, we got to meet with Bubba up there too while we was up there. He's real good guy, real knowledgeable.
Yeah, he is, and he's got a lot of passion for men and women that serve their wonderful country. And yes, sir, we had a 4-day event on a place we call the Cove in northern Halifax County, Virginia. 12 just absolutely wonderful veterans that had done a lot for us and made all the sacrifices that y'all can imagine. And
yes, of course,
we're getting ready to host some of their participants at the Charlotte race coming up in a few weeks. And then we got an event at Daytona with Project Healing Waters and a couple of corporate sponsors, and
Wow.
then we're raffling an emotional dog away that my foundation has already purchased and is being trained as we speak in New York. So we got a lot going on together, and just happy that and lucky that we were at Greenbrier at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. So
Awesome.
the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation is a 501c3 U.S. nonprofit, and promotes, sustainability of natural resources through conservation, land management, outdoor outreach, and educational practices. So you all have a lot to do with the youth as well as the veterans, correct?
Well, when I started in '96, it was the first foundation that a driver had ever done. So
Wow,
I
that's
was
awesome.
learning literally from the seat of my britches. And what we certainly know is a lot different from youth today versus my generation anyway, is a lot of time the youth today did not have a granddad or a dad or some role model that took them in the outdoors and showed them just and exposed them to all the wonders and the joys that the woods and the natural resources have in store for a kid. So our kids now so many have got nature deficit disorder. They just don't have a clue.
Yeah.
And it's very alarming for conservation. It's very alarming for the fall of outdoorsmen who are conservation. It's very alarming for all the game departments all over the country. It's just daggone right out scary, y'all. And that was one of the reasons I formed the foundation. But I will tell you, raising funds and having sustainable programs for education, we have found to be the hardest thing to raise funds and sustain. It should be the easiest, but it's the hardest.
Yeah.
I could see that.
We continue to try to make a difference, but it is a tough road.
I think maybe if education systems too would kind of back it up and try to introduce it, but it seems like public school system, there's nothing having to do with conservation in the public school system at all. Like, unless you go to a real rural school, like I know we have one in Roane County that does some different things like archery and shooting and just stuff like that.
Yeah, but they don't have the conservation days like when we was in school. They had actual conservation days to where you would do things, like
yeah.
Yeah, the heck, the game warden came to the school and taught you the safety class.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he sure did.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I remember that.
I mean, so we were exposed to a lot of different things that was putting all the pieces together for us. But, it's parents' fault, and what the family structure is now versus what it was 50 years ago. It's changing, and I'm not being disrespectful to anybody. It's just, we all know there's a lot of kids out there that struggle with having the right kind of role models that are their parents. It's just a tough issue. And, to expose a kid one day is better than no day, but it needs a lot more furthering than that. It needs a lot more reinforcing. And I guarantee you, I could take any inner city child and spend a couple of days with me, and they would want to stay.
Yeah.
They would want to come back because y'all know. I mean, just playing in the creek, building a little dam in the creek, finding a crawfish under the rock.
Oh, heck yeah.
Simple little things.
Yeah.
Those were the highlights of my childhood.
Yeah, man. Right down here in front of our house, fishing in the creek, fishing for creek chub and different things like that. It wasn't bass or anything, but that was a foundation that set us to get into higher things, bass fishing, trout fishing. The different kinds of streams and things like that you wade in. I mean, that you have to have that foundation there for that, even if it's just a hike in the woods.
Yeah.
It'll spark their interest.
Or climbing my grandma's cherry trees. That was a bad idea.
Yeah. So I formed a foundation to do one thing, was see if I could make a difference for natural resources, because I had the resources and the sport was very popular. it was for all the right reasons. It's little did I ever know that it would have grown to where we are now. It's kind of taken a life of its own. It's like one of my other children, if you will, although all my children help with it. But it's grown a lot, and we work hard now, so it'll be sustainable down the road when my day comes.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Now, you guys have what? You own and manage over 10,000 acres, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it's like 45,000, isn't it, Ward?
Well, we've helped conserve through the Army Compatible Use Buffer Program.
Yes.
45,000 for other landowners.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's other landowners. So that's programming.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Army Compatible Use Buffer, that's protecting our natural interests, which is protecting National Guard bases, while at the same time influencing and helping landowners and actually financially rewarding them for giving their land a perpetual voice and using tools like a conservation easement.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's compatible for the military mission.
Yeah.
But also, it's protecting land in perpetuity so it stays country.
That's awesome.
Sure. That's great.
Yeah. I know that on previous episodes, we've been talking about Dan there, where he's hunted on a couple different bases and things like that. So how long has that program been in existence?
I think it was, we've been doing it. Our first base was Fort Barfoot. It used to be Fort Pickett 13 years ago. I think it was in existence a few years before then, but not many. It's a wonderful program because, all of the branches of the military, they're not purchasing or getting any more land to train the men and women, whether it's Air Force, Marines, National Guard, whatever it is. So they need to protect the facilities that they're learning live fire training or flying a drone or whatever it may be. They need to protect those bases from encroachment. And that's really what we're doing. But just as importantly, willing landowners, the program, using a lot of different tools like appraisals and all, we can pay the landowner to put his land in instruments like conservation easements. So it's a wonderful program.
Nice.
Yeah, it absolutely sounds like it too. And
it is.
It's phenomenal that you can continue to do that and help that grow and promote that.
Well, we've been lucky. We had learned how to do those type of things, the methodology with conservation easements years ago with creating another conservation model in Halifax County where I live at that a dear friend owns. So we had gotten all this training. Then when we got introduced to this program, we already knew how to do it. So we're learning every single day, but we knew the methodology.
Yeah.
Hey man, you're trying to influence others to make the right decisions, give their land give the land a voice, and at the same time the family gets rewarded. I mean, that's a win-win. And that's what conservation's got to be, right?
Yep.
Always a win-win.
That's right.
Absolutely. Okay, so changing subject here, but I absolutely have to ask. 2002 Daytona 500. Let's hear it. I want to hear it from the man's mouth himself.
Yeah.
Well, hell, I remember the one I didn't win.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah. Boy,
It was an exciting day. I would be amiss if just my mentality of where I was at that day is we led the most laps and we had the best race car in 01.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had a Robbie Gordon hit me on the back stretch, and that was a big wreck that Tony flipped and all that. So I mean,
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
we had a hot rod that day.
Yeah, you did.
That didn't finish the race.
Yeah.
So we come back down there. I do not have as good a car. I mean, the car it's not handling, it's not sucking up, it's just not as fast.
Really?
No, in 01 wasn't. 02, the car wasn't nearly as good as the car in 01.
Oh, wow.
But I just I was not pressuring myself because we know it doesn't matter how good the car is, we got to finish the race and have a chance to win it. And
Right.
the 29 was blocking the 24 going in turn one, and literally, if you watch the tape, I missed Harvick spinning by probably 4 inches.
Yeah.
I mean, I spun it as far as I could without spinning it out.
Man.
And I came on the radio and I said, we just got our opportunity. And Tommy Baldwin, the crew chief, the next pit stop, we finally got the balance of the car right. We passed Newman for third, coming off of 2, and then that led up to when Sterling and
you and Sterling. Sterling wasn't very happy with you that day.
No, I don't think Sterling was very happy with Gordon when he cut.
Well, that's
he
true.
had to come in and get his tire fixed. But anyway,
Yeah, that's true.
man, we were in the right place, right time.
Yeah.
Took advantage of it.
Yeah.
Wonderful day, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that was.
Well, my dad was a huge fan, and the year that you won the Daytona, we took a trip to Daytona and took some pictures with your car and went to the racetrack, just kind of, chilled out and hung out. So
yeah, that was the Caterpillar car, right?
yeah, that's right. No, yeah, Cat. That's right, Cat. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Man, that's awesome.
Cat Dodge, baby. My dad was a Dodge man too, so
Yeah.
it's kind of a double whammy. So
No,
But
we were watching some flashbacks of that today, and I was like, man, that car was tight in them corners, man.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
last few laps,
you
it looked
held
like
the
you didn't
pack
move
behind you. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Yeah.
Well, that was the best it had been all day.
Yeah.
I mean, really So
So y'all got her
it
tuned
worked
in.
out. It worked
Yeah.
out. It could have anything can happen on those races. It normally does.
Yeah, because
But anyway,
Especially 200 miles an hour.
Sterling Marlin was back in. He was finished 8th in that race.
I think so. Yeah.
He got pushed all the way back into 8th place.
Yeah.
Wow.
wow. Well, a bunch of them had a few guys spinning at the tri-oval on the last restart, I believe.
Yeah, and there was an accident there as soon as y'all crossed the line too. I think.
Yeah, it was like the last lap, I think.
Yeah,
That was
last
the
lap.
spin.
Mhm.
Yep.
So
That
with
was crazy.
you being retired from the circuit, what's your opinion on it? How much has it changed since you actually was racing?
Well, I stayed loyal to Davis Racing, and when the resources, which meaning engineers, started making the cars run fast,
Mm-hmm.
that's when we were really taking a hit with speed and all. So what's changed? It's just like last week in the Xfinity race that my son was in.
Yep.
No practice. The cars hadn't been on the track. They throw the green flag.
Mm-hmm.
The engineers and the tools that the engineers have are setting these cars up. And when we talk about setting them up and where they're at, they're within small tolerances, much smaller tolerances. When I say an 1/8 inch, I'm probably meaning a lot smaller tolerance than that versus when
Yeah.
in my heyday, the tolerances were inches.
Right.
The downforce was always critical, but not as critical.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So it's just that's what's changed. The racing's still good.
Yeah.
It's just you just got to have all these other resources that you didn't have to have then, which consequently drives cost.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the racing is any better, but it's like the difference between when I first had a cell phone, it was a bag phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could receive a call and you could dial a number. Heck, my phone now, I mean, y'all know the deal, it's a computer.
Yeah, it
that's
is.
Right. That's
That-
right.
Yeah.
That's the difference of the cars from the grassroots days to
Man.
the cars now.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's just an evolving thing. It's nothing right or wrong. It's a natural evolving thing that people are going to use all their resources to go faster and give that guy more grip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, because you're talking like what you're saying, 1/8 of an inch. I mean, you may be talking thousands,
Thousands.
thousands of an inch.
And so, like my son, they gave him a really good car. Jeb was able to win the Talladega race.
Yep.
With Jordan Anderson, who doesn't have an alliance. And when I say alliance, they don't have an alliance with a Monster Energy team that's pumping them the resources, which is engineering support.
Oh yeah.
But you got to pay for it.
Yep.
Right.
Sure.
So they were capable of having just as good a car, if not better than most at Talladega. But when you line them up at Dover, it's a tough call.
Yeah.
To build all of those little thousandths of an inch, and you put them all over the car, it's going to give that driver grip.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just, look, I'm not judge or jury, but that's just what's changed in the sport.
Yeah. It's amazing to me, all the minor adjustments that we may think is minor, but is really big in their aspect, like he's saying, thousandths of an inch. I mean,
right.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're able to push it to the limits because they've dialed in the science of it.
Yes.
But you push it so close to the limit that, to me, if something goes wrong, I mean, I don't know. Just it seems like the margin of error is much smaller.
Oh yeah, I would say so,
for something to go wrong. But anyway, maybe not.
Well, all right. Let's get back into the outreach programs and things. So y'all do a lot of things with the veterans. Tell us a little bit of the veterans outreach that you all do.
Well, that started about 18 years ago. I was at Indy and noticed these 4 gentlemen that 2 of them had lost limbs. And it was obvious they were in the military or had gotten out. Nobody was paying any attention to them. I introduced myself. They stayed in our hall the rest of the weekend. Tony George was nice enough to let me take them around a pace car the morning of the race. And then we brought them back to the cove. And I call this cove, it's a 2,500 acre conservation model in Halifax. And they were from Texas. So we brought them back to the cove during the winter. And one of the young men, when we picked him up at the airport, wouldn't hardly speak. It was me and him in the car. But after the 4 days that they were together, the other 3 guys picked him up on the way back to the airport. I couldn't get a word in. So you know what we learned? We learned if we use the wonderful settings that conservation model have, which is just the great outdoors, and let them be
themselves,
just who they are, they pick up each other. That is the healing.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
And his wife called me about 2 months later and said, I don't know what you did to my husband, but he's a different guy. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's all it took.
Wow.
So we've been doing it ever since.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. That can roll right into what we try to do on every episode here is our salute to valor. So tonight our salute to valor is going to go out to George M. McGraw from Pensacola, Florida. He was in the U.S. Army. He was retired as a staff sergeant. He was in from 2000 to 2020. He served at Fort Bliss, Texas, Freiburg, Germany, Fort Benning, Georgia, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and Fort Belvoir, Virginia. He did 4 tours of duty, 1 to Iraq and 3 to Afghanistan, where he earned his combat medic badge, Army campaign, Afghanistan campaign, and the Presidential Unit Citation, which he retired just pretty recently, April of 2020. So he's been out for a little bit over 3 years now.
Yeah.
But we really want to thank you for your service, sir, and we appreciate everything you did for our country. And I know with 4 tours of duty, that's a lot.
He's the real deal.
Yeah, he sure is.
Yeah, thanks for your service, man.
Thank you, George, for your service, and we're glad you made it home, sir. Enjoy your retirement.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I hope he's out there fishing in Pensacola.
Yeah. Oh, man. So you talking about that camaraderie and stuff with these veterans and things. I mean, I'm sure that just, brings a warmness to your heart when you see that going on. I mean, you get to see that often.
Well, it's such a natural thing. It's like the 12 gentlemen that were with Project Healing Waters the same facility. It's done changed a lot since those 18 years. We got a little bit better places and all that. But
Yeah.
that the last night, I mean, everybody was getting along and talking and all and carrying on the first night.
Mm-hmm.
But the last night, after we had all been together for a while,
Mm-hmm.
it was just, I mean, I turned around and said something to Ted. I was like, you would think that everybody here had known each other their entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really we became friends. We all did. We made new friends.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. We all have a respect for one another, and it's really easy. It's a natural thing to happen.
Oh, it is. You get a group like that together, it might take a little bit to get it kicked off, but normally by the end of those kind of situations, it's like you've known each other for the last 30 years of your lives.
Yeah. Well, those are some of the most people that they know that they can trust, the ones that may not have served right beside of them, but served for the same purpose. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and sometimes when the because I'll always feel guilty for not pulling my 4 years. But regardless, I enjoy hearing their story because every one of them's different.
Yeah.
Sure.
The last summer it was a young man. He had done a bunch of combat tours, but he was a medic. So the things that influenced him and the things that he was working on was all about him trying to save his comrades. There's completely different point of views. And you like hearing it, more importantly, all their voices does not need to be lost. And there's a lot of opportunities out there that, someone could get interviewed and tape it for prosperity because people want to hear it. I mean, I don't know how many books I've read, but its history and its individual involvement, it shouldn't be lost.
Yeah.
It should not be lost.
Right. No, I agree with that. But like you said, he was a combat medic. In my opinion, being over there, they're one of the most important guys on the ground for me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
They're the ones that when we screw up and we didn't pay close enough attention to what was our surroundings, they're the ones that's going to bring us back and save our lives.
So you Ward, were a graduate of the Hargrave Military Academy, correct?
I was. Yep. And I was planning on going straight to the Marine Corps after high school, but I wasn't planning on going to a military school to 3 years doing high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was good for me. The Hargrave Military Academy was exactly what I needed. My parents should have sent me earlier, but I did need some time to let my hair down once I graduated.
Yeah.
I was probably pretty fortunate to get away with the things I did to graduate. But,
now we've always heard that Ward was the wild one and Jeff was just the one that hung out.
Well, no, look, I'm the oldest, so my other two brothers learn what not to do.
Okay. That makes sense.
Or not to get caught. How about that?
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. Dang.
Oh, but I mean, you can take it back to where you was at that academy where you've learned a lot of your, skills and your discipline and things like that you carry on in your professional career, correct?
Oh, golly. I mean, just simple things, the chain of command. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had some of the most grand. I mean, one gentleman, his name was Major Gillespie, Vietnam veteran. You weren't going to call him by his first name. And he obviously was not a major anymore, but he was Major Gillespie.
Yeah.
And he'd have whipped your butt if you called him anything different. I wish I'd have paid more attention to him on some of his courses, but we had some outstanding adults there that, they were either Korean War or Vietnam.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely got some good ones there. That's for sure.
That's right.
So, one of the special projects that you all are working on right now is with the Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources with their canine program.
Yes, sir. So, like most state agencies, they can't accept donations.
Yeah.
And the K9 program, well, I've always been very supportive, even when I was on the board back when it was Department of Game and Fisheries.
Mm-hmm.
Very supportive of the game wardens, and now they're called conservation police officers.
Yep.
They just they put themselves on the line, not just for game causes, but all kind of things all the time. And it was an easy thing for us to do, and we've helped them purchase the K9. I think we got somewhere around 12.5 in the account right now for them, and they we make deposits and they 100% make withdrawals. So it's
Nice.
a good thing that we can do to support our department, and just as importantly, support the wardens, the conservation police officers here in Virginia.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
that's
sir.
In every state.
It's amazing what am I trying to word it properly? Some of the cases that the dogs solve
Mm-hmm.
is literally unbelievable.
Oh yeah, it sure is.
But it's not just game violations. These dogs, in a lot of cases, will track missing children, or
Oh wow.
might be an inmate that's gone. Somebody done gone and committed some kind of crime, and they're hiding out. These dogs find them. They do a little bit of everything.
Yep.
Okay. So, with your foundation, how many guys, gals, individuals do you guys have on staff right now?
We have 3 full-time, 2 part-time. So I work for free, so they really can't even count me. And we got quite a few contracting services that are helping us. So we're pretty lean and mean. I mean, we
Not a whole lot of fluff.
our annual budget's getting close to 7-figure, which I'm kind of alarmed too. But we're sustaining it. So
Yeah.
it's certainly a whole lot different when it was just being funded out of my back pocket.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we've come a long way, and I think we got a lot more good work to do yet.
Yeah, you definitely do. We sure appreciate all the work that you do. I mean, like Dan was saying there, with all the staff that you all have, I mean, you all do archaeological exploration too.
Well, we're in a rural area in Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and I wish my board doesn't want to do it. I would like to change the name of the foundation, because these projects that we do and the efforts that we put out is more important than me.
Yeah.
And I'm just honored to be able to do that kind of work.
Yes.
But hey, regardless, we've been very fortunate, and we've had a lot of people support us. And I've never been anyone to, certainly not a showboat, but we've got some people on board now that we're getting ready to take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time to where more people know about us. And we're like any other business. We can only do with what resources we have.
Yeah, definitely.
So we need to get our story out there. And
Sure.
Sarah Graper is doing a wonderful job with a growth and development. And Jeb helps us a lot. A lot of his partners are supporting us. So pretty much all my family's involved. And
Well, that's amazing right there. Have all
yeah,
your family
really
working together.
appreciative of that. And
Yeah.
got loyal staff that's been. Heck, Tom Andrews, executive director, he's been with me going on 19 years. So
Yeah.
Oh wow.
it's all good, man.
That's awesome. So speaking of the wildlife conservation, we've got that show coming up in September at the Greenbrier, the Wild and Wonderful Hunting, Fishing, and Conservation Expo. So are you going to be there during that time, or are you doing something? Are you
Yes,
doing
sir.
it? Are you with? Okay, awesome. What kind of event are you doing there?
What kind of event am I doing there?
Yeah.
Well, I think we're all kind of. I think we're going to have a display we'll have some information that's about our conservation efforts.
Okay.
We're working with Joey
Yeah.
and Holly to learn a little bit more of what we can do to help them.
I got you.
So I think it's going to be a learning experience, but knowing Governor Janice and the whole staff, they're gonna kick this thing off. It'll be great, and I bet you it's going to just get nothing but better and better as the years go on.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
I agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were actually having a booth there set up, or you were going to do some seminars or different things like that. Having some of your staff there.
It's funny you mentioned that. I think we are. We're going to talk about some of the tools like a conservation easement. It's funny that it's a simple thing,
mm-hmm.
and it's not that complicated. It's some long-term decisions one has to make, but it's still surprising to me. A lot of landowners are not aware that they have an option.
Yeah.
So some of my staff is working more on that. Get a little bit closer, I'll be getting more involved. Yes, sir.
So Ward,
whatever we can do to help support Greenbrier too. Excuse me.
Yeah,
definitely.
I agree. So Ward, I just want to get your verbal commitment. If we do a podcast up there during this thing, we can get you on that thing.
Yeah, we got to get you on that. Because
that's what I want.
We were
I
talking.
have some kind of feeling here that if somebody said no to all three of y'all would worry the devil out of them till they came on.
Absolutely.
You're not far off.
We're persistent. That's for sure. We're very persistent. But we were talking that night after the first event, and you were like, we had that event there at Kate's Mountain Lodge, and you were like, why didn't you come over and just get me and tell me what time I was going to be on? And I'm like,
yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah, you're Ward Burton. What are we going to do?
No telling.
Oh man,
it was definitely a pleasure meeting you up there. I mean, you're just a great down to earth guy.
Absolutely.
And, you fit right in with all of us. So we appreciate everything you do at the foundation, and for the Greenbrier.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Appreciate what y'all do too. We all try to make a difference in our own way and keep up the fight. And it's a lot more important of trying to make a difference in something than just always concerned about what an individual needs.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, y'all have been successful in your own right. I was lucky to have an opportunity to make a living in NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
But, I fell into this responsibility long before I even knew it.
Yeah.
I was trained and raised to do what I'm doing. And it would not be honorable for me not to do it. So we all have a calling. It's just a matter of when we can do it. And it's nobody's going to ever remember you for what you have, but they might remember you for what you gave.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah.
It's very good. Well, let's hit on one more point real quick, and then we'll let you get off here. We want to hit on some turkey hunting. Y'all been doing some turkey hunting down there in South Boston?
Well, when we were at Greenbrier, we got up really early that
Yeah,
Friday.
we did.
Yeah.
Did y'all heard some birds, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, Dan's group did.
We saw
Me,
some
Tony,
across the
and Hunt
road.
Chef, we was on at Hunt Chef, actually, on Jeremy Critchfield at Hunt Chef. They got onto some birds. He had two opportunities, and the second opportunity, he was missed by inches. He ended up missing it by inches.
Oh, he was hunting with Mr. Crumley.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look, that's the funniest story I've ever heard in my life is how he came up with just smart too. He created the diaphragm, and the latex was condoms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we were sitting at dinner Friday night, and he's telling me about him buying cases and cases of industrial condoms for these diaphragms.
Yep. That was Jim Clay, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Not
I mean,
lubricated,
him and his
I
wife,
hope.
Teresa, just salt to the earth. But I tell you what,
Yeah.
we laugh, man. My stomach hurt laughing about cutting them condoms. For the turkey dog.
Yeah. We've told that story plenty of times on here. You know, it's amazing how, it was awesome to meet him. And, when my brother first made mouth calls back when he was 16 years old, and that was in this early 70s, he had made them. And I think Jim had made them plenty before that, I believe. But he done the same thing because we didn't have any suppliers. We didn't know where to get the materials and the components to make these mouth calls with. So that's what we were making them with. I mean, we have similar stories. So if you don't, if you haven't been in the industry that long and you don't know the suppliers to where you can get the things and cut out the middleman,
You got to do something.
you got to do something
Yeah.
if you want to get into the industry. So you figured out.
Yeah.
And that's what he made them out of. So I think it's funny, man. I was telling Ward that evening we were talking about it up there. Yeah, I seen your video there, just your little snippet on your page the other day where you said that y'all had found some turkeys, so you had a turkey feather, but hadn't seen any of them yet.
No, I tell you one thing, we went in some beautiful country though.
Yeah.
The turkeys are there. I think somebody was there before we got there. The day
Probably,
before.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you could see turkey sign everywhere. But
Oh,
anyway, regardless, hey man, being in the mountains of West Virginia, I enjoyed that a lot more. Bagging a turkey is fine, but if you don't, it's fine too.
You got that right.
I just
yeah.
like being out in the woods.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was good just being out in the woods.
A bad day in the woods is still a great day in the woods, man.
Yeah.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's one of the things that my son, mentioned as we were walking out of the woods. He said, well, Dad, he was like, no turkeys today, but he said, I'm still glad we came because we had a good time in the woods,
We should have stayed in the woods longer because I had one too many in the casino. I paid the pauper for that Saturday morning.
I recall a little bit about that casino, come to think of it.
Well, that's, the only thing bad about that here in West Virginia is you got to be out of the woods by 1 o'clock. So.
Yeah. What else you going to do,
Yeah.
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 Oh, jeez.
All
That's
righty.
awesome.
Well, Ward, we sure appreciate you coming on tonight, sir. It was, like I said, it was a pleasure meeting you there at the Greenbrier, and we appreciate everything you do there at the foundation. Keep up the good work, sir.
Well, thank y'all, and we'll look forward to talking again, and nothing else. We'll see y'all down there in September.
Yep, sounds good, sir. Thank you.
Thanks,
We
Ward.
appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank y'all. Have a good night.
Have a good night,
Yeah.
sir. All right, guys, thanks for listening in tonight. We had Ward Burton's foundation, the Wildlife Foundation there. The link was up on our live podcast on Facebook, so make sure you check that out. Check their website out. Make sure you check the Greenbrier's website out for the Wild and Wonderful Hunting, Fishing, and Conservation Expo coming up September the 22nd through the 25th. Be sure to check us out on the limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts. We're on Amazon Music, and we're on about 20 other different outlets. So search us up, give us a like and a share, and we appreciate you guys listening tonight. Y'all have a good evening. This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Ghost 802, a sports team based in Vermont. Their goal is to promote safe and ethical hunting and to raise the youth to share the same passion for the archery, hunting, and the outdoors as they did growing up. For more information, check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Let them know that you heard about them right here on the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls.